I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative, I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go.
That's right, guys. Once again, it's Tuesday night. You know what that means. That is TNT. That is Tuesday Night Talks. Welcome back again to the channel where chaos and insanity will always reign supreme. The channel where tech, toys, and talk will always rule the airwaves. Welcome back. Sorry for the lateness, guys. StreamYard was being StreamYard. Seems like since I've reverted to the free form of StreamYard, I'm having more and more technical issues. Obviously, you guys can see a tremendous downgrade in the video quality because StreamYard only lets you stream at 720p, not 1080. You got to pay for that. I might be experimenting with a different stream platform next Tuesday to see just how much of an improvement you can get at a free charge. I shouldn't say free charge, but at a free service. There are some options there. Now, of course, if I use OBS, I can get some better quality, but we don't have a chatting option. So that's part of the rub when it comes to streaming, guys. You know, those that don't know, I've actually switched careers. I switched jobs recently. So right now, for the foreseeable future, I will be cutting corners, saving every nickel and dime I possibly can here and there and everywhere, to, and still be able to be on YouTube. That means that you may not see some of the crazier things. I might not be doing a ton of insane unboxes in the future. I might do an unbox here and there, and we might be doing a little bit more 3D printing, maybe a few more live streams. Who knows? I might even do a little game stream here and there. But I want to see how everyone else in the dimension is doing today. So let's start off right off the bat. Our first guest in chat was Dark Lycan. Thank you for popping through. We got Ultra Carzilla. Ultra Carzilla is in the house. And from Walmart, I finally got my Jurassic World Epic Attack Spinosaurus. And it will look so badass going up against Jazzware's 1/18th Halo Jerome 092 figure. I'm sorry, whenever I see the name Jerome, I'm always going to do Jerome's in the house. Martin Lawrence, 90s. It's a thing. Speaking of Jerome, I ordered Jazzware's Halo 1/18 Jerome 092 figure, and hopefully he gets shipped soon. Sorry, guys. Sinuses and allergies have got me. My voice is a little bit hoarse, a little sore too. Dark Lycan says, nice. You guys are going back and forth. That's great. I love to see that. Good to see you, and thanks. I'm new here. Hey, well, still new, old. And by the way, guys, if you haven't noticed, there's a link pinned to the top of the chat. So if anybody, and I mean anyone, wants to hop on and jump in the dimension and talk with me online, hey, that's what we're here for, guys. Tuesday nights are always an open stream. Yep, there I am saying sorry for a delay. StreamYard is being difficult, and I'm having some kind of power issue because my two key lights are kind of flickering right now, and I'm not sure what is causing that. I may actually shut one off. No, it's still doing that, so there might be a power issue going on in the old dimension. That's not fun. See if I shut off some of my lights. No, could be a glitch with these. These are some cheap key lights, so I might have to replace them at some point in time. Anyone watch Terminator Zero on Netflix? I have not, but I've heard good things. I think Hey Archer was talking about Terminator Zero last week. Enjoyable, entertaining, and horrifying. And it's already one of my favorite animes of all time. Whoa. That's big praise right there, man. Terminator Zero is even more entertaining than, and way better series to watch than Acolyte. I myself haven't watched Acolyte, so I can't really speak to that. But from what I'm hearing from everyone, that sounds to be a pretty true statement. I knew Terminator Zero would live up to the hype to me. Awesome. That's always great when you see show being advertised, you get a feeling like it's going to be an amazing show, and when you do get to it, it is. So that's even more amazing. Sorry, guys. We also have David's Life, a fellow New Yorker, Western New Yorker and YouTuber. Hello, hello. How was everyone's day off yesterday? I was okay. I actually went and saw Alien Romulus. And I think I might do, I think next Tuesday's stream is going to be a whole discussion on Alien Romulus. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't yet seen it. I know there's quite a few people. We got Mark from Blue Harvest Toys. How are you doing, my friend? It's been we haven't talked for a while. I hope you're doing good. He says fins up. Hello, Dave. Dark Light can saying hello, hey to Mark. He's saying right back at you, Baz. Dave's dimension. Trust me, man. You can easily pass on Acolyte and watch Terminator Zero instead. Well, I do plan on watching Terminator Zero. I just finished. I was binging a show I've watched a long time ago called The Blacklist. It's one. It's a good show. It's a show that should have ended 2 seasons previous than what it did, and it had one of those terrible endings. Not something that makes you tear up, but something that makes you just go, "What WTF?" So that's kind of like where I'm at. I'm looking for some new shows to watch because I've binged a lot of shows repeatedly. I'm not into everything. I mean, I say I'm into everything, but like someone said, "Oh, you should watch Murders in the Building." That's not a me show. It just isn't. I mean, I like sci-fi, I like horror, I like action. I don't, it's got to be kind of crazy and out there. I love me a good zombie show. Z Nation, Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, anything like that. I'm always down for. Evil was a pretty good show. We got the man collects in the chat. Ultracar says, I enjoyed Alien Romulus. No spoilers to everyone, but I will give my opinions. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it. It's probably one of the better paced Alien movies since, I'll dare to say it's probably up there with Aliens, with the original sequel, which is kind of ironic because this one is, it basically is taking place between Alien and Alien. So I thought the energy was good. Some of it felt a little predictable, to be perfectly honest, but I loved how they tied every single movie in. All the movies of the franchise pretty much are tied in together. Because you might be, someone might say, hey, how can they make a movie between Alien and Aliens? How is that going to work out? But they friggin' did it. They did it. They took a swing. They got grand slam all the way through. They introduced new characters, and let's just say they kind of revisited, an old one. That you might construe that as a spoiler, but it really isn't. Give me one moment, guys. Sorry about that. I had to blow my nose. I hate those kinds of endings. Drives me nuts. Yeah. If anyone ever watched The Blacklist, the ending was it was anticlimactic. It was a big letdown. Hate to say it, but it was. But, hey, Megadan Collects, formerly Megademon. I hope you're doing good, my friend. Hope you're having a good week. So I want to talk about a couple different things today. We're not going to talk about Alien Romulus, which is good, and if you get the chance, go to the theaters and check it out. You will enjoy it. Speaking of enjoying things, we got the Master Disaster, the judge of all things horror. We got Captain Spaulding in the chat saying hello, brother Dave. How you doing today, Cap? I hope you're doing good. I hope you and the fam are doing well. Mega Dan says, I'm doing great. Are you doing great? Are you doing great? Who knows? I guess it's all in how you say it. Let me play with my camera a little bit because I'm looking a little dark here. Like I said, I'm having issues with my lights for some ungodly reason. So Let's see if we can fix that a little bit. Go back to that. Let's crank up the brightness. I'll fix the zoom a little bit. Come on, pump up the volume. That should be a little bit better. Yeah, fix the zoom a little bit. There we go. So I hope everyone is doing well. And by the way, and again, anyone and their grandmother wants to hop on the chat, we got the link pinned to the top of the chat. If anyone wants to come on screen, you are completely welcome. You just click the link and jump through the portal, and you're right here with me, guys. So that's up to you if you want. Let's see who else we got. We got Duffman's diorama in the chat. He says Captain Small says doing good. Hello, Duffman. Everyone's saying hello to Duff and David, I should say. Creativity from the future. Thank you for popping into the chat. Hope you're doing great. And there's a link for Ultra Carzilla if you want to check his channel out, check his content. Nice setup back there. I'm still working on things. I still have like 2 hot toys I still need to unbox at some point. What you see right behind me, actually directly right there, is 2 pieces of art I got from Fan Expo. One is like a multiverse of Spider-Man, but it also includes Deadpool, Wolverine, and Dogpool, aka Mary Poppins. Let's go ahead. We got a few more links here. Go ahead and check out those links with Dark Lycan. David's Life says, Duffman, hello, great to see you. Creativity, Duffman saying. Did you hear about the NH? Yeah, I did hear about that. I don't want, Megademon or Megadan, I gotta ask you, let's not talk about anything. It is sad. It is a bit of a downer. So I don't want to necessarily talk about that. I knew about it last week. It is a bummer. It's a downer, but Tuesday night talks. I want to try and keep things upbeat. So let's just move forward. I know it affects a lot of people, especially sports fans, but I want to get past that. Okay. A couple of things I want to talk about was I want to talk about something that was pretty awesome that involved a couple content creators. There we are. We got Blue Sasquatch, aka now X Live X, in the chat. Is this live? Yes, it is. 100%. Now, last week, there was an amazing collaboration that took place early last week. It was, if anyone is a fan of figure posing, I want to pull this up. I want to share this with you right here. Give me just a moment, guys. So last week, and I also want to welcome David's Life into the chat. He's there. There he is on screen. Hello, David. Hopefully you can hear me. So last week, MYTHON the Python, he is an amazing Instagram, and he appears on various YouTube channels. This is his Instagram. Now, he did an initiative with Hello Dope Toys. Now, Hello Dope Toys, they have their own YouTube channel, but they also have their own Instagram. And what they did was these two collaborated, because of what MYTHON did was he did a initiative to raise some money. I want to see if I can pull up the site here, if it's still active or not. He did this initiative to help fundraise for kids with cancer. Let me see. There we go. Bantha Bricks. Bantha Bricks fans, you can actually, I'm going to pin this in the chat as well. This is a fundraising initiative that he's been doing to raise money for kids who are battling through Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center. This is an amazing cause. Now, what MYTHON did was he teamed up with Hello Dope Toys, and they did a live stream where they were selling coffee mugs, specially designed coffee mugs, and proceeds go directly towards this amazing cause. They raised, I want to say, I don't know the exact number, but I gotta say it's at least close to 1,000, if not more than that. They did an amazing campaign. I believe this is still going on. So if anyone wants to donate to that cause, I'm going to throw the link into the chat right there. It's just give.choa.org/banthabricks. So you can donate directly to that cause. And as I said, this appears to still be an ongoing campaign. So you can still donate to that amazing cause. But this was brought forward by MYTHON the Python and Hello Dope Toys. Now, I have no affiliation to either of them. I know I recently met MyThon the Python through Instagram and through mutual streams courtesy of Oz and Clubhouse. And when I came across this, I said, you know what? This is cancer, which you guys know. I'm always there to fundraise for cancer. Locally here in Buffalo, we have the ride for Roswell Park Cancer Institute that I do every year. But MyThon, Hello Dope, did these amazing coffee mugs that say Hello Dope on one side, and you actually have MyThon the Python's logo on the other. For $10, you get yourself a pretty damn cool coffee mug, and you help out kids with cancer. So it was kind of a no-brainer. And by the way, guys, if you want to follow MyThon the Python or Hello Dope Toys, I have all their links in the video description below. So please go ahead and check that out. Now, once again, full disclosure, I have no affiliation with them. I just thought that they were pretty damn amazing to put on this initiative. As you can see here, I threw the link into the chat. So, guys, if you feel so inclined, go right there and donate to this amazing cause. This goes directly towards Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. This is directly to their website, though. So there's no funny business. There's no, oh, it has to pass through this set of hands and this set of hands. It's going directly to them. And like I said, they did these amazing coffee mugs. And hey, who couldn't use an extra coffee mug, right? But during their live stream, they did a special prize. They're like, hey, we're going to give away our prototype mug.
True.
Okay. And guess what kind of a YouTube nerd got that prototype mug? Yep, you guessed it. Dave's Dimension won something. So I got the prototype Hello Dope Toys, MyThon the Python coffee mug. So I have both. But again, guys, if you have a few dollars left in your pocket, if you can make a world of difference, please go ahead and click that link in the chat, give.choa.org/banthabricks. And like I said, it goes towards this amazing cause. You know, you guys know whenever I do a charity, whenever I do a fundraiser myself, I always tell you every dollar, every nickel, every dime makes a world of difference. And there we are, guys. So, guys, please consider helping out this amazing cause while this campaign is still going. Please, it'd be a big favor for me. Please help make a real difference, because MyThon the Python, his wife, the guys at Hello Dope Toys, they did this. They didn't have to do this, but they put this amazing effort forward. And I just want you guys kind of like help them push it a little bit further. You know, every little thing counts. David, can you hear us? I'm not hearing you. Let me know if you have sound.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, there we go. I can hear you a little bit now.
Right.
There we go.
It took me about a couple minutes to get everything situated.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's funny. Sometimes, like, you know, if you're doing it through your phone, sometimes like having little earbuds in your ear with the mic helps.
Well, unfortunately, I have hearing aids, and
okay.
Yeah.
No, hey, whatever, you know, whatever works, we can hear you. I just want to say hello to Nerd Affiliated. Hey, Archer himself. Archer, if you scroll up a little bit, Ultra Cartozilla is spitting some great reviews on not just Romulus, but he was also talking about Terminator Zero. That it lived up to the hype, and that he thinks it's already one of his favorite animes of all time. I'm a little curious to think because I think you were talking about that last week on your stream. So that's pretty awesome right there.
No, I'm curious. The Terminator anime, is that any relation to, like, say, the movies? Or is that something different?
I haven't watched it yet, so I can't say. But as far as I understand, it's part of that same universe. It's just that a Terminator arrives in Japan. I could be wrong. I'm going to start watching it this week because I have no show to binge now.
Nice. Let's see.
Maggie Demon says, I did pick up a photo of my favorite animated music group, music band, Gorillaz. Excuse me. For $5 at a music memorabilia store. Awesome.
Cool.
No. Was it no more drugs for that guy? LOL. Are you referring to Ultra Carter Zilla? Because I'm about to take some sinus meds.
Med to the sinus meds.
And by the way, guys, again, if anyone wants to hop into the chat, the pin is it's pinned to the top of the chat. If anyone wants to hop on, please feel free to do so. But I wanted to bring up about Hello Dope Toys. Now, they're not just a YouTube channel. They are not just an Instagram page. They're also a website. They are a seller of all things action figures. I mean, you name it, they sell four horsemen. So if you're a fan of Mythic Legions and Cosmic Legions and the accessories for said line, you can pick up those.
How many of those?
They have everything. What was that?
How many of those are you gonna buy?
Well, currently, as far as like buying figures, it's gonna be far and few for me because I just switched jobs. The new job I'm at, I took a pay cut because the other place was not socially or mentally healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna really go into it, except that I went through the proper channels to address those concerns. Concerns were not really addressed. So, like you do, you find a way to move on. So I moved on to a new job, which should be much better. And fingers crossed, things are going to move in a positive direction moving forward in the future. It's kind of doing something that I did before, but in a different field.
There you go.
It is a customer service job that I'm doing now.
Doing the new job, too. That's all that matters.
What was that?
As long as you're happy doing the new job too, that's all that matters.
Well, yeah, I'm in training, so right now it's gonna be there's gonna be a big curve because it's technically customer service in a medical type field. So I did tech support for a cable company for almost 10 years. So now I'll be doing phone support in a different way. For kind of it's not hospitals or medicine, but it deals with medicine in a way. But it will, we'll see if it works out. We'll see what happens with that. But sometimes you have to, reevaluate things. Is like, is your mental health worth getting paid those couple extra bucks an hour? So it's it's a whole measure. So I was to the point where I couldn't work in that other place anymore because of the direct environments, and you just have to make choices. And fortunately, this new job, as long as things work out, I'll be eventually rotating to work from home.
There you go.
So we'll see how that works out. But Nerd Affiliate Archer says, okay, I'll try to finish it, Ultra Carter. So I guess okay, I plan to rewatch Terminator Zero in English dub soon. Oh, so is it not in English dub right now? Maybe I just didn't give it enough of a chance. Okay, so Archer is not necessarily a fan of Terminator Zero, but I get that anime. Most, a lot of anime, I guess, if it's made or designed to be an animation or a show for a specific culture, let's say Japan. Things are very different in Japan than they are here in America. Take a look at the Terminator movies. A killer cyborg arrives, and what's the first thing it does? It hits a gun shop or a pawn shop to arm itself up. Gun control is very different in many other countries and cultures. Yes. So in Japan, we're probably not going to see that kind of a setting. right? So there are some. I'll say this: there are probably some fandoms or some genres that work in some cultures that wouldn't work necessarily in others unless you make concessions. And this is coming from someone who hasn't seen Terminator Zero, but hearing from people on how it's set, I could definitely get that kind of a vibe. I mean, there are some Western movies, made here like in North America or even in England, that when they get to Japan or other continents, other countries, they are heavily edited, and sometimes they're not even they never even premiere in those countries because of the content, because of the subject matter. So I mean, it all depends. I mean, they might even rewrite a lot of the script when it's dubbed so that it fits their platforms, their genres. So that's something I can definitely see. And I'm someone, I will watch a show all the way through, even if it's bad. I was a big fan of The Walking Dead, and about seasons 4 or 5, it started kind of going downhill. But I watched it all the way through to season 10. I'm the ride or die. So I mean, I'm probably gonna watch it all the way through, and I'll do some reviews on it. But I want to say hello to a few more people. We got a lot more. We got some family up in the chat here. We got America's Most Wanted. Hey, AM Dubs. Sup, Dave, guest and chat. Hope all is well. Well, America, AM Dubs. Of course, you know me as Dave. This is David, and he's actually in my area. He's actually another YouTuber in Western New York. So say hello to him. America's Most Wanted. He's one of the coolest guys around. He's funny. He is one of the best guys you can ever come across on YouTube.
Right.
He's family to me.
That's cool.
And Dubs, I hope you're doing great. And by the way,
Speaking
again,
of-
anyone out there, please, if you want to hop on, you want to join us, the link is in the top of the chat. And Rolando's so far so good. Still waiting to schedule a biopsy. Fingers crossed for you, Rolando. If you need anything from any of us, you know who to call.
And you were speaking of ride or die, watch all the way through. I did the same thing for How I Met Your Mother.
I only watched a
15 years ago
a handful of episodes of that show.
Now, the show itself was great, and I loved that. Hated the ending of that show.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, there's shows that are so good, but then the writers, the showrunners, they like, because I mean, they come up with a concept. Okay, let's see if we can get past season 1.
Makes
it's
sense.
like there are some really good showrunners out there who they will come, like when they are writing the first season, they are like they'll make a wish list or a Bible, an outline.
Yeah.
Take a look at George Lucas. Okay.
Right.
Star Wars New Hope, that's episode 4. He wrote kind of like, okay, like this is my concept for this, and this, but he wound up going with episode 4.
Right.
Which was a stroke of genius because, and he was smart about things. But I mean, you got to have some kind of like a rough outline, a roadmap, if you will, on where you would love to potentially go with these characters. So you kind of have an idea on how things might want to end. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't do that. I mean, hell, Supernatural went for 15 years. They're also in talks about possibly bringing back for a limited run, like maybe an 8 or 10 episode season, just to kind of bring it back.
Yeah.
But again, you have to establish a continuity. You have to establish rules within that universe, because you can't just go on forever. Law and Order.
Exactly. Absolutely.
You can't go on forever. Grey's Anatomy.
Price is Right.
I mean, that's a game show. We can go. Game shows can go on forever.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. Sopranos, terrible friggin' ending. Amazing fucking show. Terrible ending. Dexter, great show.
Never got to see the ending. I just stopped watching.
Well. See, you're good because the ending's a bit meh, but they brought it back. They did Dexter years later, and his son has grown up and kind of tracks him down. And ironically, guess what state he's in?
The same one's really
In New York
Oh.
State, yeah.
fun.
Spoilers. There you go.
Well, I mean, the best sewer shows seem to be from New York City.
But they're in production making a prequel series
Yeah.
where it's Dexter as a young grown-up man.
Hmm.
His father is alive,
Yeah.
and you have like young Deb, and it's going to be like kind of like him, like
Okay.
fine-tuning his his rules, his code.
Yeah.
And they're also talking about doing a sequel series of Dexter, which would be him after the ending of that spin-off show I told you about, which is kind of interesting and controversial with how that show ended. So you have to catch up on it. It's on Netflix, or at least the regular Dexter is. But we got a lot of people in the chat here. Yes. We got, of course, English dub. I have a day off from work. Let's see here. Rebels, reptiles, and games. My brother from another mother. My fellow G.I. Joe fanatic. My fellow 1/6 scale collector. I sent him a picture of something I 3D printed last night.
Cool. Very nice.
So those that know, I got into 3D printing recently, and I actually printed this off last night, full color. And I had a few people ask me, like, how did I get the blue on there? Well, it's a white star, but with blue on the wall. Let's see if I can show that right there. But it comes out making the star look like it's glowing, just kind of like in the cartoon. So this turned out fantastic. Whoa. I actually got the file, I think, on Thingiverse or on one or two other websites where you can get free files. So I 3D printed this. I'm going to be printing some other, because I want to plan on doing is, since I have G.I. Joes up here, I have a whole section of G.I. Joes. I'm going to print a sign like that for right there. I'm going to get a Cobra sign as well.
Okay.
I've downloaded some 3D files for Marvel, for Spider-Man, and a few others. So I'm going to do some select signs, kind of add a little bit of pizzazz to my displays. And of course, with my Hot Toys, I'm going to do Power Rangers one. I got a whole bunch of other stuff that. This is why I'm a big advocate of 3D printing. It's a rabbit hole all onto itself. I mean, you can go on Etsy. You go to a con, you might find like a bigger one.
Yeah.
Like a thicker one. And people are probably selling it for 20, 25 bucks, maybe 30 bucks a pop.
Yeah.
Now you see how thin this is, right?
Yeah.
I can make this as thick as I want. So that's the thing about 3D printing. I mean, you can do, again, it's like with cosplays. I tell people the only limitation is your imagination, and that's kind of the thing right here.
No,
I love how this is
a fraction of the price to 3D print too.
What was that?
Said it probably cost you a fraction of the price to 3D print.
Well,
as it would say buy at a con or something.
Well, you figure, okay, typical your average PLA spool of filament is going to at least start around $15 to $16. Okay, but I can print a whole crap load of these if I wanted. Okay, so you definitely get your money's worth. I have the AMS, which allows me 4 different colors.
Right.
So I mean, there you go, black, red, white, and blue. So that worked out perfectly. There's a lot of, I printed some 3D guns for my wife for her Deadpool cosplay. My Captain N cosplay, I'm going to be starting Project Flux Pack Mark II very soon, where I will be 3D printing a custom Back to the Future Proton Pack. I had a Spirit Halloween one a couple years ago, back in 2019, and now that I have this printer, I can 3D print an entire Proton Pack. But now I can customize the parts myself.
Fun.
So it's gonna be a fun ride. It's probably gonna take maybe a year to do it. But you guys are gonna be coming along with me on the ride. We're gonna do maybe a couple live streams where I'm sanding and painting stuff and doing the wiring and the electrical stuff. And a lot of it is going to be pre-recorded content in small doses, because we know long form content doesn't do well on YouTube. We got everyone saying hello. Rolando saying hello to Rebels. Good to see you, pal, he says. Everyone's saying hello to Rolando. Rebels is saying hello to everybody, and I hope you're doing well. I know you've been working a lot lately. Weather's been just terrible where you are, so I hope you're doing good, man. I hope you're doing good. Hope you, Hayden, Drunk Eyes, his wife Blue Eyes. I hope you guys are all doing great, staying safe where you are. Um, the Dark Lycan says, "Nice, Dave." Yeah, I'm still a novice. I'm still learning stuff because I'm 3D printing what was a classic GI Joe vehicle into a classified scale to fit a 6-inch figure.
Mm-hmm.
But I am coming across a few issues when I'm printing because fortunately my printer isn't large enough where I can do it in one piece. So I have to print halves, right?
Mm-hmm.
This right here, you can kind of see there's a faint line right there.
Yeah.
On the other side, you can't see it as much.
Right.
It's barely noticeable. So this is glued with a special adhesive.
Mm-hmm.
So this is solid like one piece, but I have a front and back. This is the back part. But what happens is no matter how I print, because you have to slice it within the program itself. But what happens is a little bit of this doesn't print perfectly flat, just a small little hair. So there's going to be an imperfection in this regardless.
Yeah.
I've printed this 4 times now. And I still keep coming across issues. So this is the best I can do. So we're going to try. I'm going to see if I can get something to kind of work as a filler and see if I can match up the color. But it's paper thin. It's most people would say, oh, it's not noticeable. For me, if I'm going to give it to someone, I'm going to try and be as as perfect as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say, I don't even notice it until you pointed it out. So.
Yeah. Americans One says that's smooth. It is cool. We're doing good, brother. He says that I'm great. I'm glad you are. Hope you're doing well. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Like I said before, changing jobs. I don't know what my work schedule is going to be. There may be a couple of nights. Tuesday nights might not be a thing anymore. I might have to move this to another night because my job, the office itself, is open till 9 p.m. at night. So there may be 1 or 2 nights where I'm actually working till 9 p.m. And then there may be, if I'm working on Friday, it might be till 7 p.m. So I'll still be able to pop on like Colbin Game Stream and a few others. But it's going to be a slightly different work schedule. I still have nights. I have my weekends off still, which is good. Like I said, it is a bit of a pay cut, but I think your mental health, not being in a mentally taxing or abusive work environment, is really what's needed. So, we're going to see what happens. I'm going to be finding out more, I think, later this week or early next week. So we'll find out.
Isn't it also Mental Health Awareness Month? Or
I think every month is mental health awareness.
Yeah, no, it is.
But yeah, I think September and October is like mental health time. So, but yeah, I mean, like something like this, I'm like, this looks fantastic. I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, if I hold it up across, you can see like a little imperfection on the star, but from a distance, you can't see it.
Phenomenal.
But I mean, for a prototype, this came out amazing. So, so yeah, your boy Dave has been staying busy. There's a lot of stuff I'm looking at 3D printing. And again, if anyone is curious, here we go. That's the printer I had. Well, this is the printer I have, the Bamboo Labs P1P.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a cute
now.
picture.
Now there is this one that has the walls and everything all built around it. This is about another, I think, an extra $200. So I mean, I went more affordable. I in retrospect, I probably should have ordered the other one because you do get dirt and dust in here.
Right.
So, but I can. What's the great thing is I can actually go buy the accessories. Like you can buy like
you can buy your own.
I have to buy these. I have to buy some new beds because I have one. It's magnetic bed that comes right off, and it's bendable, and that's how you get your 3D prints off. But there's different ones like this right here with the stars, and this kind of like 3D kind of pattern. So when you print something flat, okay, like for example, like when I printed this just kind of has like a flat pattern. Well,
Yeah.
if I get something that has like a fractal pattern, it'll print that fractal pattern on the bottom. So like it's a nice little pizzazz you can do if you really want to,
Right.
you know. Um, that's just one thing you do. Now, mind you, you can buy this stuff, some of this stuff on Amazon. Here's the kits. Like if I want to fully convert my P1P to a P1S, you got your side panels. You have a glass door, a tempered glass door that you can actually put on there. Okay. There's another cover that goes on the front panel here, another tempered glass part that goes right on the top. But then you also get, this is the hardware. These are the panels I mentioned before. There's an extra fan and 2 more fans that you have to put on there. Okay. So you wire this stuff all inside. It helps to keep the heating down, because you got to figure, if you have walls, that means the heat is being condensed in and it has to exit the printer one way or the other. So that's one thing. That's also another reason why I didn't go for the side panels originally, was because I didn't, I figured like, okay, this will allow for better airflow, and plus if something gets stuck, it's easier for me to kind of reach in. They have different nozzles you can get. They do sell their own glue, because a lot of people don't realize on a lot of printers, you need to run a glue stick on the bed so that when it's first printing, it's sticking and adhering to the bed itself. It's not sliding off. They have all these extras you can get, just tons of stuff on here.
I'm learning so much about 3D printing. That is sickening awesome.
Well, I had a friend message me yesterday about 3D printing, and I kind of gave him a crash course. He didn't know what leveling was. This printer does auto leveling. I told him, I said, think of a ball. Now think of a square board that you're trying to balance perfectly on that ball, and you need it to hold straight. That's leveling. If it's off whatsoever, you're not going to get a solid print. Okay. If you're trying to, let's say you're trying to print something, it's going to print on a sideways. You're going to get a leaning tower of Pisa type results, or it's just going to completely fail altogether.
Right.
Some people ask me, what are these little branches that you have on here? These are supports. So as it's printing, because you have this part coming out here, it needs some kind of support. So it prints this. So when this part starts coming up here, it's going to help just hold it together while it prints. There's that. There is a lot to learn, but there's YouTube videos out there for anyone. Anyone had questions? Every now and again, I do come across a glitch, and that's what I use for resources. Honestly, YouTube videos.
I'm sorry, there's a TV on in my kitchen right now.
Okay.
For my mother's kitchen.
Well, no, I always say that if you're stuck in a situation you don't know the answer to, YouTube. There's always YouTube videos to help you out. Dark Lycan says, I just got into making my own custom figures. I see, with me, I've done very, very low level customization. One of my friends got the idea to take some Marvel Legends and kind of like mash them up with some existing Ghostbuster figures, and we made our own version of Ghostbusters at Frozen Empire figures. Since Hasbro didn't come out with any, we kind of made our own. Like taking like for example, you could take a figure like this, J. Jonah Jameson, pop the head off. You could technically either swap the hands out for black skinned hands, or paint them yourself, and take a Winston head from Ghostbusters Afterlife, like maybe a figure you got at Ollie's or Ross or whatever, pop it on there, and now you have Winston from Frozen Empire. I painted several figures. We popped the Ant-Man Paul Rudd head and put it on another figure. So we have Gary Gruberson from Frozen Empire in full Ghostbuster gear. We took trying to remember them all. We took actually took the jacket from the Loki figure from the Loki series, and I put that on Bill Murray's Venkman from Afterlife, painted it orange, so now it looks like him in his orange coat when he pops up in Frozen Empire. So we
Not a
kind
bad
of took
idea.
we did some mashups of different characters, different Marvel figures to mash them up to make a whole. We actually made 5 figures for Frozen Empire. Hasbro didn't want to make figures, so the fans ourselves were making it ourselves.
Right.
That's
That's not a bad idea.
that's about as custom as I got.
That's very
You know?
creative.
Well, I can't take the credit for it because my buddy and one of my teammates,
Right.
Dan Lieberg of the Buffalo Ghostbusters, he started getting the idea to do this. I bought the orb, the Star Lord from Guardians 1. He has that little silver orb that the one Infinity Stone's in. I painted it gold and I glued it to the hand of I'm blanking on his name from Secret Invasion. The one scroll shapeshifter. I'm blanking on his name. He's actually a good guy. We swapped out the head for Dan Aykroyd's head, so it's Dan Aykroyd is Ray Stantz holding the orb.
That's awesome.
Worked out perfectly. So I mean, we did stuff like that, and we also took I took Slime's Egon that I got at Ollie's, and I put Egon's grandson, Finn Wolfhard's head on him, so he looks Slimes because he does interact with Slimer, so it worked out perfectly. So we wound up with 5 figures. That's like a whole Marvel wave right there. I mean, come on now. But that's the thing, you get fans. If you're not going to make the stuff, the fans are going to make it themselves. And now that we have 3D printing, we can make our own vehicles.
Cool. That's gonna be amazing.
It's not
what
gonna.
you're gonna make.
Let's go to Etsy because Etsy has been selling plans for different like GI Joe vehicles. These are just some parts I'm going to be getting from Etsy for my proton packs. I need because I'm upgrading my HasLab Afterlife proton pack into a Frozen Empire one. I have the yellow bumper already on it. I have some other parts scrolled away. But let's do STL GI Joe. And this is it. These are files you can buy, and then you're 3D printing your own vehicles. These are like scans of vehicles that you had back in the 80s of the 3 3/4 vehicles, but they're upscaled so that they'll fit a classified a 6-inch figure. Okay, so you if you didn't want to spend $100 on a Stinger, you buy the file for $25 on Amazon or on Etsy, and then you can 3D print all your parts here, paint them, or print them in the right colors, and there you go. You have kind of a classic, but upscaled to the right size. I mean, that's the crazy thing is like, we don't have to wait around anymore.
So we basically combine the new age of 3D printing and the old fashioned.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at this right here.
And now you get this stuff. It's so simple yet so amazing.
I mean, it's here $12.50 for the files, and if you already have the filament, you print it up. There you go, $12 for that. Whereas, like, I mean, the new Stinger, mind you, there's a lot more bells and whistles on it, but there are some quality issues too because I have both of those, the Vamp and the Stinger. They were selling for about $100 a piece when they did the pre-order, and now in the aftermarket, you're paying about $150, maybe $200 for those. You buy the files, you can print as many as you want. Although I will say this, if you're buying the files to print and sell these off yourself, consider tipping the originator, the one who is actually making these files. Give a little something back to them, because if you're making bank off of it, that's what you should be doing. You should be paying forward because they're the ones. I mean, think of copyright issues. I mean, and the thing is, like, just like with video games, like you can get classic video games. You download the ROMs, but the ROMs are changed just slightly so that they don't infringe on still existing copyrights.
You were reading my mind because about 30 minutes ago I was thinking of copyright, and but memory serves.
Well,
You only have to change about.
well, see,
20.
there's this project here. One of my buddies wants me to print this. There's this is one version of it.
Okay.
The other version is has red struts on it. This right here.
Ooh, that's cool.
And I'm like,
Nice.
with my printer, I'm like, I told him, I said, with my printer, we're gonna have to cut this up even smaller,
Yeah.
but it's still doable. Now, I will say this: if you do get into 3D printing, you're trying to do anything like what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Now, there is this glue here. Okay,
Right.
I highly recommend wearing gloves when you use this stuff because this is a 2-part compound. You take the the liquid glue and then you spray the other part with this. When the two combine, it creates an instant chemical reaction, and it's solid within 12 seconds. So I do suggest being careful, anyone out there. But yeah, this is classified scale. This will fit 6-inch figures. I told my buddy, I was like, I'm like, I don't know how much filament this will cost. But this is one thing that you could do here. I mean, you got your turrets, you got missiles on here, you got everything. The only thing I'm trying to figure out is I'm gonna have to get some kind of there is clear filament, and I'll have to print this out.
Right.
Which is going to be the challenge of it all, because usually when you're 3D printing things, you have to have there's usually like with solid objects, there's what's called an infill.
Hmm.
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's what fills the inside of the solid structure. Like if you're printing an orb or a cube, it's the infill. But yeah, like I mean, this right here, I told him, I said, yeah, he in fact he messaged me about that today. I'm like, I'm still looking into it. I'm gonna get the files, and then we'll see like how I have to cut this up. I'm actually waiting for a response from this Etsy shop, because I messaged him with the dimensions of my printing bed, and I'm waiting for a response that like how can I what's going to be the best way to slice it up? Can he make a recommendation, or can he reconfigure his original file so that it's compatible with the printer that size? Because this is a pretty common bed size printer. Because right here he says that this is a large base and it will be best to have a 300 by 300 by 400. That's bigger than mine. So I'm trying to. He says I have cut the main platforms into 4 parts, included connectors to help fit it together if you run across any parts that do not fit. So I message him to see if it's compatible before I start spending the money. But this is the boat I'm actually printing. Except I'm doing it in blueprints as per my friend's request. But yeah, this whole thing, this is what that's what I was showing you earlier with the blue deck.
Okay.
Because you can make it any color you want. And that's the thing with 3D printing, it opens up a world of possibilities. Something I actually like here, you want the classic Sergeant Slaughter tank? $10 for the files, and then I just go ahead and I print it out. 1, 2, and 3. One thing I came across on Thingiverse is they actually have a file for the blast effects for Marvel Legend figures. So now I can print blast effects out for weapons and figures and characters, and 3D printing opens up a big world. And I think that the toy collectors or the toy manufacturers like Hasbro, they need to watch out for that, But see, that's just one thing that's going on in the world. You just have, you just never know what you're going to come across. Like some of this stuff, like, okay, they're doing another release of Professor X.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of how this looks.
No, I'm not either. It looks cheap.
Well, see, that's the thing. Even in this promotion picture, you can see kind of a marbling effect on the plastic.
Yeah.
With 3D printing, you don't have that. But of course, this is made from molds. I'd rather now there are here just for craps and laughs
Yeah.
instead of shits and giggles, craps and laughs.
Okay.
Let's go to Thingiverse, right?
Yeah.
Thingiverse. Okay, we're gonna go right here. Professor X. Bam. Right there, top row. Shush. We could print. I could print this out. We can print his chair that fits a Marvel Legend figure. Then it's just a matter of getting a good Professor X.
Right. And that looks a lot better too.
And well, I mean, hell, I could get like a metallic yellow.
Yeah.
Or print it any color I want, but then hit it with a metallic looking yellow paint or like an auto paint, which I've done before, to make it look even more. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do now. We'll say this. It's not, 3D printing. Oh, I 3D print it. It's perfect now. You do have, on some parts, you will have to do sanding. You might need like a little rotary tool to do some little alterations sometimes. But also on larger projects like this, I use a sandable primer. On my Proton pack, I'm going to be using a lot of this because like on the round cover, what we call the cyclotron, where you see the 3 or the 4 red lights,
Mm-hmm.
I have to print basically to make one of those. I have to print 4 pieces out. So when I glue them together to cover the lines, I'm going to have to sand them down, and that's where this stuff comes in. It's sandable primer. They use this on cars. You can get it at our Harbor Freight, pretty cheap. You spray it once it's all dry, then you can start sanding it, so you can't see the lines at all. So it's kind of like a filler, if you will, you know. So there's a lot to do with that stuff. Bill's in the chat. I already got a 3D printed Seahawks or Skyhawks that look sick. Watch out, Hasbro. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. People are coming up with like, if you're a fan of Skyhawks, hell, I saw someone who's working on a Space Ghost, who's working on it, trying to make a Space Ghost ship. I mean, I've seen people who've been trying to 3D print the ship from Silverhawks.
I wish I knew.
I mean,
what that
instead of spending like $700 or $500 on a Thunder tank, people are printing it out themselves. It takes longer, and I'm sure not everybody can do that, but it's a thing that can be done. It is a thing that you can do. Duffman says, Dave, will you send me the links for the printer you got? Yes, I'm more than happy to. I'll send that off to you. I mean, I have a good friend of mine that was on the stream a couple weeks ago, Roger, when we were talking about Comic-Cons and preparing for Comic-Cons. He has several 3D printers. He's retired. He's not working. It's a great hobby. If you're disabled or you're just a retiree, but you're someone who wants to keep their hands busy, 3D printing is a nice hobby. You're not working with power tools, really. I mean, with my printer, I download a file on my computer. I open up the Bamboo Studio program on my computer, and I send the file wirelessly to the printer. I don't have to get up. I don't have to load anything on a micro SD card. It has a micro SD card, but I don't have to load anything on a card and then try and transfer it over there. It does it wirelessly because that's on a wireless network. My phone has an app. I can monitor 3D printing while I'm out grocery shopping or if I'm at work. I can technically monitor things. And the great thing is, if there's a clog, it will pause itself. And it'll send me a notification. So it will wait. And when I come home, I can unclog it or change out the filaments. And then I can hit resume, and it will resume the print. That print is no longer failed. On other printers, older printers like the Ender 3 Pro Max or the Ender 3 Max, something like that, if there's a clog, it stops, it fails, that print is dead. You have to start all over again. This one doesn't. So, I mean, it's It's amazing. I love it. Like I said, it automatically levels itself on every print. Before it starts printing, it levels itself. Like you see the bed kind of like moving up and down because it's testing itself. And the great thing is with some printers, usually you have one stationary bed and then the nozzle is moving around, right?
Mm.
This does both. The bed actually lowers up and down. So when you're printing, it starts up high and then slowly goes down as it's doing the print. Well, the extruder itself moves left, right, front, back. It moves on those axes and it does everything by itself. It's great. Now, you also have to be careful on what you're doing. Like when I did my wife's guns, I had to be careful. It was kind of like coloring by numbers because I have the AMS, which allows 4 different color filaments.
Right.
So you kind of have to paint each angle. You have to look at it because you get a 3D model of it inside the program. So you can rotate it any angle you want and assign colors to a certain section. Again,
I love the old-fashioned paint by numbers.
that's how I did this. This was actually
Okay.
one solid black model.
Right.
And then I went inside and I had to tap with my arrow to assign a color to each spot. That's how I did this.
On.
The top, the side, the back, the front, the other side. I had to assign colors to each thing. So it's a little bit of paint by colors. And that's actually how I did the star. This was solid white, but it had blue walls here on the outside of the star. And that's how I got this little glow effect.
Cool.
But I mean, that's the
Now,
thing.
how long does that normally, like that particular thing you did, how long does that take?
This was 4 hours.
Okay.
So, and the thing is, with some older printers, that probably would have, if you weren't doing different colors, to just print that one piece out. If you're not doing different colors, you're probably talking about maybe 7 or 8 hours for that. Okay, so this is a little bit faster, but also with like your typical enders, you're gonna have like one filament, so you have to kind of pause it in a certain spot to change the filament out, feed it back in. That's where the AMS comes in. It does that automatically. AMS for automatic material system. So it works in conjunction. It's proprietary for Bamboo. It works with the printer, so it will stop. It will change filament color, feed it in automatically. And there's actually what's commonly called a poop chute out the back because when you change it out, you're pulling out filament, it cuts off the string. It cuts off the excess and drops it through a little chute. And I have a magnetic bin that goes on the back of it that catches all the excess because, well, I have cats. I don't want them chewing on plastic. And it's amazing how much there's quite a bit of filament that gets wasted actually. But when you're doing something like this, I mean, 4 hours and it's perfectly done. I can run that printer 24/7 if I really wanted to.
Right.
There's people like Rex from Millennium Workshop. He's got a whole fleet of printers. He makes a lot of props, but it works out for him. About what does the whole setup cost? Well, let's go ahead and take a look for you right now, Duff. I'm going to say probably about close to $800 to $900. That's probably what it's going to cost. But let me explain here. No, I'd say about 800. But also they do have deals from time to time. This is one printer, but the one I have is part of the P series. That's this right here. Now there's the one with the enclosures on it, but you can either get that, and right now, if we look at that one right now, that one is $849 right there. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the P1P. That's what I have. Right now, the P1P is $500. That's a world of difference right there. Okay. Both of them are essentially the same printer, except the P1S has the covers and the tempered glass top and door on it. That's the only real difference right there. The other one, the one with the enclosures, you have extra fans built into it. So I mean, from $849 to 500, you're saving $350 right there. Okay. Now, with that $350, what can you do with that? Well, that's where you're going to go to accessories. And we're going to look up, let's see here. Where's the AMS? I got to find it in the store here. The AMS is what I have. Now, see, like this box that sits right here, that is the AMS. Where are you? Let me find it here. And sometimes they do have deals, by the way. They do discounts on the filaments from time to time. They have their own proprietary. Okay, where are you? AMS. Now I gotta find it.
There's cashback too, Rakuten. You tell me now they do cashback, so that's where it's safe money.
Here we go. Under spare parts, AMS. Those are the spare parts, but where's the AMS itself? It might be out of stock right now, actually. But what they have is they have that box, the AMS. That's where you have all the. Let's see here. That's a different version of it. Here we go. AMS. The AMS is $350. Okay. So if you skip getting the P1S and you get the P1P like I have right now, that $350 you just saved, you can use that towards the AMS. And this, I actually have 2 3D printed stands that actually fit onto that. That's how mine is sitting on top of my printer right now. This plugs directly into the back of the printer. So it can't talk straight. It feeds this filament automatically into the printer. Some people can have 2 sets of them. So you can have up to 8 different colors. Technically, there is a hub you can buy, which is this right here for $40. You can actually have up to 4 different AMS devices connected to it, which means you could choose up to 16 different color filaments. So that is something you could do. There are people who do that. That is not me.
Not yet.
I mean, down the line, I would like to get a second one because there are some pretty complex designs I want to do. I mean, like here, for example, you can do this. You can print. You can print this.
That's insane.
You can buy the file for $5.18, and you can make your own Deadpool or Wolverine. Okay? And these are designed specifically for that. Okay? Deadpool and Wolverine right there. Okay? Now, you can get what's called a silk filament, which I have used before, and you can actually get a little bit more of almost a metallic finish to it. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with 3D printing. Duff, I am going to send you the links to all this stuff. I'll send it to Instagram. Archer says, I just watched the video on the His Tank 3D versus HasLab. They're easily pluses and minuses to it. Exactly. I think printing is great if you have the patience to do the post-processing. Yes, like I mentioned before, there is sanding to do. It's not just like, a few brushes. Sometimes you're sanding over and over and over again. But you're not just using sandpaper. There's different grades of sandpaper. You use more of the rougher stuff until you get more down to the more finer ones. The finer ones are going to allow you to get more of a polish, and a lot of times you're doing wet sanding. Because if you want something to be like cosplay worthy, to look like a professional prop helmet, it's going to take a long while, a lot of sanding. So you definitely want to have like a garage, a basement, or a room that has plenty of ventilation. That's step one. A lot of stuff you want to have a very fine look to it, But if you're a casual cosplayer, you can definitely do stuff. Now, as far as the His Tank, I've seen people who 3D printed the His Tank, but they also had to do their own electronics, get their own decals. So it begs the question: is spending maybe $400 on a HasLab, is that cheaper than making your own His Tank? Well, if you're a seasoned 3D printer and prop maker, yes, you probably can do that on your first or second try. Someone like me, I'm going to be reprinting things over and over again because there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be stuff that doesn't fit on one print bed that I have to slice in half. So now I have to try and print those two halves together and then glue them together, make that seem seamless. So again, I'm going to be back to sanding and filing and having to do different coats of paint to try and get it done. And then there's the electronics, putting lights in, making sure the interior of the his tank has seats for different figures to go into there. And that's if there is a readied file available. And to be honest, some files, some of the really, really amazing files out there, you have to sign up and subscribe to a Patreon in order to get access to those kinds of files. So in the long run, there can be an argument made for getting it through HasLab because you don't have to go through all that work. But for some people, there is that pride of, I made this. Look how freaking awesome this looks. I did that. There's that. But also, if you have a very busy life, I mean, come on, I work full time, and then I spend time doing YouTube, which doesn't pay any bills. And then I'm going to spend time with my third craft, my third job of prop making. And with me being, I cosplay in a charity group as a Ghostbuster. Okay, so that's a fourth job. And this is like September, October, November, December. That's one of the busiest times of year for me. Toys for Tots, Halloween. This is one of the busiest times. We got the Nickel City Comic Con coming up again in Buffalo in October. So, I mean, it's kind of like I want to start working on several projects, but then I also realize one, I might not have the money for all the resources. Two, I'm not going to have the time. I seriously am not going to have a whole lot of time to work on everything that I want to. So I have to set priorities, So there's a lot of things to be said about that. So Archer has a very valid point. And honestly, Archer, I would love to have you on again sometime in the future so we can discuss this. And honestly, I'm looking for people next week who want to discuss Alien Romulus. So anyone out in the chat, if you've seen Alien Romulus and you're available either 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. next week, Tuesday, message me on Instagram at Daves_Dimension or email me at davesdimension78@gmail.com. I really want to get a discussion going on for that. Let me just fix this right here. My seat, it's slowly going down, and I don't feel like standing up and cranking it up. I got to get a new chair soon. Speaking of affording things, how many print fails do you have versus successful prints? For example, one fail for every 10 prints? Well, see, that's the question. Now, I don't know if you saw this. I printed this last night. This is a prototype. This is my first time printing this G.I. Joe sign. Came out fantastic. Now, there are some faint blemishes. I don't know if you can see the one on the red line, but there is one faint one right there. So, I mean, but from a distance, you can't see it. So this, I'm going to say, is a one-off success. Now, I was trying to 3D print the deck for the Devilfish, but I have come across a little issue here where you can kind of see like a little faint, like it's not perfectly balanced, but that has to do with how it's sliced and how it's printed. I had to slice this in half basically through the computer program and then printed two halves. Okay. So some people might say, well, that's going to be barely noticeable. And maybe it is. Once I glue it together and fill things in, it may not be noticeable. But with that deck, I've had 3 or 4 different setbacks with it. So I've printed it about 4 times. That's my 4th time printing that. So this one is probably the best I'm going to get it right now until I can fix that issue. Okay. So with that being said, it depends on the file. It depends on the project you're trying to print. That is ultimately going to decide whether you have a failure. I had some failures with printing my wife's guns the first time I tried to do it because I was assigning colors to different spots and I missed one little spot. It's like the old carpenter's adage. Anyone that works in construction, anyone who's ever built anything, you know this. Measure twice, cut once, right? Measure twice, cut once. And that's the thing. I glossed over it once. I didn't do a double check. And that's where my mistake is. So
Live and learn.
3D printing is definitely a learning curve. But that was the thing. With a 3D object, you have to look at it at every angle and make sure that everything is going to be colored the way you want it to be. So that was part of the issue right there. So, I mean, again, ultimately it comes down to what you're trying to print, how complex the print is, and your settings. For the most part, the AMS and the P1P, it's ready to go right out of the box. That's how friggin' amazing it is. It's very plug and play. Whereas my very first printer, which I never had successful prints on at all, which it was an Ender 3 Max. With that thing, I had to assemble the printer itself. I had to connect this wire. I had to do this, do this, do this. The P1P, when I unboxed it, I had to take 3 screws out, plug the power cord, screw in 2 screws for the spool handle, and put the filament on the roll and just feed it in. It was that simple. Now, you do have to sync it up to your Wi-Fi, but as far as like physical setup, it's good to go. Duffman says, cool. He says, I'm intrigued. I could be dangerous with this technology. Oh, yes, you can. Once you start 3D printing things, it's over. It is so over. It's not even funny. When are you printing a ghost trap? I do have ideas about printing a ghost trap. I want to find a good file for it. When I say file, I mean series of files, because you don't just print ghost trap all in one go. You have to print different parts here and there. So I do want to get that. I do want to do that. But Archer, I have plans. I want to start printing out parts for the FluxPack Mark II. And let's just say I have so many different ideas for that it's not even funny, Archer. The FluxPack, the Back to the Future Proton Pack Mark II, it's going to have the stuff I have in my head right now. What I want to do when I build it is one thing. How it's going to look when I actually build it is going to be a different thing. Whenever you're building something, especially if you're customizing something, you usually have an idea in your head, and then there's always going to be about 5 to 10 changes by the time you're done. I mean, my first one, I had it planned out. It was going to look like a traditional black proton pack with a few extras here and there. The one I wound up building, it was a Spirit Halloween proton pack, and it was painted silver. And I had a tube on the side that had LED lights that was filled with hair gel to make it look like a temporal slime filter. I had a little Yahtzee flux capacitor sitting on the top of it, so whenever I moved around, it lit up. That was not stuff I had in mind originally. You know, that's another thing. When you're customizing stuff, there's going to be so many changes, and Archer knows this as a cosplayer himself. Did you order it through Amazon? No. The printer, I actually ordered the printer directly through Bamboo Labs. And if you're someone who's on a budget, you can break up the payments through either PayPal. You can do 4, like for example, the AMS itself, you can break it up in 4 easy payments of $87.25, or go through Klarna. And that's actually what I did. I've been breaking up the payments through Klarna. I pay about $55 a month for it. I bought the AMS separately, but that's something you can do. You can break up the payments through, different payment programs. So it's not like, oh, I have to drop 800 plus, I'm dropping 850 plus tax all at once. No, you can break it up in these smaller payments to make it more manageable. They are very budget friendly, and that's great that they give you not just one option through PayPal, but you also get that second option through Klarna. And full disclosure, I have no affiliation with Bamboo Labs whatsoever. I'm just a big friggin' fan of what I'm able to do. I was someone who always wanted to 3D print, and with the Ender, the way that they did the leveling, and I'm not trying to be funny, but they had 4 little dials underneath the bed, and you had to try and adjust it to perfectly level the bed. That's how you leveled it. This thing does it automatically. This is a straight up shortcut. I've told people before, if you want to get into 3D printing, you can do it right now if you want, but I often say maybe wait a year or so just to see, when the next version, if there's going to be a P1P Mark II coming out, then this one obviously is going to go down in price. That's something to do. Also, taking a look at some secondary markets. Maybe someone has one that they only used a couple times because maybe they decided to go in a different direction with a different type of printer. Because there's this printer, which is your PLA, which is basically your plastic filaments, but then there's also resin printing that has fumes, that has vapors from it. You need to have like an actual proper exhaust, like have it by a window with an exhaust tube or hose going to it, so all the fumes are going outside. There are certain things you need to take into account if you're doing resin printing. Resin printing, in my eyes, is a more advanced type of printing. I'm happy sticking with PLA. Now, there are different types of PLA. PLA is the material we use for the filament, but there are some that are not so heat resistant and some that are. So if you're out in Arizona or California, there are certain kinds of PLA you want to use and some you want to avoid. Otherwise, if you have your prop sitting in your car all day long, it might start looking like some butter and start melting. So you want to keep that stuff in mind. Yes, Duff. It was definitely their website, and in fact, I'm going to go ahead and send you the links right now.
No, I'm curious what your friends are 3D printing. That I see a couple of different comments talking about them being addicted.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch base with that in just a second. So the first one is the AMS stuff that I'm messaging to you right now, and then we're gonna go to the P1P because. And the thing is, true story, the person who got me to buy the printer is my wife. She knows that I've been wanting to 3D print for the longest time, but I failed with the other printer. Okay. One of her coworkers has this printer, and she showed me some of the amazing things that he was able to do. And he was like, if he wants to get into 3D printing, this is a great starting point. And it was, and it still is. I mean, I love this printer like you wouldn't believe. Duff, I sent you both links for the P1P and for the AMS. Now, you could print without the AMS, but the AMS allows you to do different color changing like that G.I. Joe sign I did. So it definitely makes it more interesting. Creativity from the future says, I'm into 3D printing as well. It's so addicting. It is, and especially for like prop making. I did a Captain N the Game Master. Okay, let me actually pull up. I'm actually going to pull up the AMS right now. This is Bamboo Studio right here. Okay, these are the things I've recently. Oh, by the way, I recently printed a medallion from Doctor Who, and I printed some power coins. So from
Nice.
Dino Thunder, I printed a Tommy Oliver, Jason David Frank power coin. And this, I gotta work on the coloring, but this was the seal of Rassilon from classic Doctor Who. So I mean, literally, there's just so much that you can print. There's 3D cases for GoPros that you can print. I mean, there's just so much that you can print that it's beyond amazing. And when I say this is 3-dimensional, it really is 3-dimensional. Okay, like with this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how easy it is to color this stuff. Okay, what if I wanted this to be the black parts to be red? I'm going to click on this. Like I said, it's click and point. If we wanted this to be white, we can make that white. I mean, that is literally like I'm doing that. And see, these are the grooves I was talking about here. Like, say, with this, if I want that to be whites, you just click on white real quick.
Yeah, I can see where it gets addicting just from that alone. That's pretty awesome.
Do you see how I have to kind of like go around 3-dimensionally and hit those edges so that they match up properly? Otherwise, it's going to try and print gold down here and then white up here. And the gold is going to bleed through it, which is kind of what happened with this right here.
Yeah.
But you guys see how like it's fully 3-dimensional. I'm just moving my arrow around and I can look at every angle possible on here. That's just one example.
Well,
kind of crazy, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this is one thing I want to print down the line. There's this very cool Jurassic Park seal I want to print from one of my buddies. This was the no. Okay. So this was part of the gun I was mentioning about like this part was black and this caused the print to fail. So you have to look at every angle possible. You can zoom in on this, bring it down. So you can see like I really got in and made sure that every 3-dimensional part was painted correctly as far as the program and then printed it out. This was one solid piece of printed. So there is so much you can do on here.
Crazy, insane detail. It's awesome.
Oh, it's insane. And this is just a few. These are just a few of the things I did. Let's see here.
Not regarding or disregarding the cosplay, but I'm thinking of like the command center or something with Golden Girls in it.
What was that?
The limit, it sounds like, with this stuff.
You said the command center?
Yeah, or something with the Golden Girls.
Well, what would you say if I told you I've been downloading a bunch of 3D files?
Yeah.
Let me see here. I don't think I didn't do the command center. I didn't download that. Jesus. Okay. Because I actually saw a file for the like a retro look of the 90s command center, the inside for the Power Rangers.
Fun.
Wait a minute. I think I do have it here. Let me see if I can open it up.
Yeah, because the thing with the Golden Girls, I was thinking of, they have the ladies on Mount Rushmore. If I can make it myself and not have to buy it, that's a win.
Okay, let's open this up very quickly. Okay. Okay, I'm opening up several files at once. I'm going to drag them over so you can see. Can you see those?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can do the Power Rangers Command Center if I wanted to.
Nice.
And then I just got to make the viewing globe, which really wouldn't be that hard. I can make it out of a marble if I really wanted to.
Yeah. I was thinking the outside. I wasn't even thinking of the inside.
Oh, the outside, yeah. There, you can get 3D models of that as well.
Cool.
It's amazing what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
New file. Import. Let's see here. Yeah, like this right here, I could, because I'm actually thinking of doing the silver. This is basically the X-Men symbol, but it's meant to be flat so it stands up, so I can have this as a back piece for my X-Men collection.
Fine.
But again, I mean, we can do these different colors. There's different ones to play with. I mean, there's so many different files out there that's not even funny. Someone has a 3D file for the firehouse. Here we go. This is the one I was looking at yesterday. See if I can get it to pop up here. That's not what I wanted. I found a 3D file for printing blast effects.
Ooh.
So yeah, I can print that. I can print those if I needed to. Any Transformer fans? That's not what I want. I want this. Okay, so let's go right here. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Good thing is, everything you're doing here can be undone. You want to make a Transformer coaster or medallion? We can do that. I still need to like do the sides and paint them, but you see how quick and easy this is, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally, the only limitation is your imagination. I swear to God, you guys might laugh at me when I say that, but that's literally
No,
it.
just from you showing me what you've got in idea form, it's insane and fun at the same time, and I love it.
Spider-Man. There you go. Anything and everything. But let's just catch up on the chat here very quickly. Tough Man said, "Thank you, sir." Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's 3D printing it's a rabbit hole. There's so much that my wife wants me to print. There's so much that I want to print. Like I said, I want to start working on the proton pack because I know that thing's going to take months. But there are files out there where every little grommet, every little dial, every little part, except for the white, like the red tubes and the blue tubes that go on it. Aside from that, everything else can be 3D printed on a proton pack. The bumper, the shock mount, every single part. You can even 3D print the back of the proton pack where you connect the Alice frame straps onto. Even that can be 3D printed. Literally everything on a proton pack, including the wands, with the exception of the hose and some of the other greebles, for the most part, you can 3D print every single piece. So, and the bonus or the positive that is this: it's going to be lighter. So, if you're someone who has a sore back or you can't, deal with a heavy weight the entire time, if you're printing everything out of plastic and not using metal parts, you can have something that's easier to manage on your back or your body. Okay. The trade off is maybe some of the parts don't look as perfectly accurate, but there's always a trade off. Comfort versus 100% accuracy. Second, don't be afraid if you're doing a 3D print of a prop and it doesn't look 100% perfect, or if it looks damaged. Props, my buddy, a good friend of mine, always tells me your props should tell a story. A proton pack is not going to look brand new. It's not going to look like it was built in a laboratory. I mean, hell, Egon and Ray built it in a dilapidated firehouse under the worst conditions imaginable. Egon even says in the first Ghostbusters movie, you know, this place is in a demilitarized zone. It's power, our power needs. It has substandard power here. It'll, it won't meet our needs or requirements. They built it in basically a shack, for lack of a better wording. So yeah, and if you actually look at each of the 4 proton packs from the first movie, each one has differences, so you could tell which one is Ray, which one is Egon, which one is Winston, which one is Peter's proton packs. And if you watched Ghostbusters 1, the rooftop scene when they're taking on Gozer and they're kind of like kneeling down, those are foam proton packs that they're wearing, but you can't tell. Because at one point, if you look close enough, you can see one of them leaning back against the wall, and you can see part of the pack kind of like bending because it's foam. They had multiple packs, but nobody could really tell. That's the thing. You can make a proton pack out of cardboard. You can make it out of EVA foam. You can make it out of wood if you really wanted to, and I've seen some. Some are 3D printed. Hell, I've worked with Spirit Halloween proton packs, and you can make them look pretty damn screen accurate. They're 80% scale in some cases. The newer ones 100%. But there's things you can do to make them look screen accurate, and nobody could tell from a distance. Your props are gonna tell a story. If you're making a Captain America shield and maybe part of it is chipped, hell, maybe it was in a battle against Thanos, right? Thanos' sword cut right through the shield. There you go. You could have a sword. You could have, the Eye of Thundera. You could be dressed up as Lionel. Well, the Eye of Thundera got destroyed a couple times. If you're wearing Captain America's armor, maybe you're dressed up as a Helldiver. Your armor is going to be beat up because you're in battle. You're Tony Stark. You're Iron Man. Your armor is a little bit scratched up and beat up. Guess what? Tony Stark kept building more and more suits every friggin' time that one of his suits got battle damaged and beat up, didn't he? They tell a story. Okay. So if a prop is damaged, if part of it is scuffed up and scratched up, you were in battle, right? You got maybe a rip or a tear in your costume. It's battle. Your costume, your props, they're going to tell a story. And that's the honest truth, I mean, come on, proton packs, especially proton packs, they get beat up and scratched up all the time. As a cosplayer, as a Ghostbuster cosplayer, I'm constantly working on all my proton packs. Not because I'm trying to make them the best possible, I am, but because parts break, kids tug on stuff. You turn around, you hit something in the wall. Trust me, proton packs through a doorway are not always the greatest thing. So, I mean, you're gonna break stuff, you're gonna have damage, but you gotta think, how many times were the Ghostbusters thrown by a demon, by a demigod, by a poltergeist? How many times were they thrown around and beat up? You gotta think about that. Whatever character you're cosplaying, you gotta think about what kind of a character are they? What kind of battles or what kind of storylines are they involved with, right? It's a whole thing. So if you have a mistake, well, it's battle damage. Like the boat I'm making, the devilfish. Well, I could do a little bit of dry brushing, and I can make it look like that's a blast effect. That's a blast mark right there. You gotta figure G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe's battling Cobra. Their vehicles are going to take some damage, aren't they? Maybe take a little bit of sandpaper, do some scuffing up in some spots. Shows a little bit of battle damage. You're good to go, guys. Hey, Megadan. It is about 9:45. We're going to start wrapping things up. I actually wanted to show off a figure I picked up this week. For anyone who's still in chat, I was at a Walmart in Niagara Falls and actually got Captain Marvel. That is Vampire Captain Marvel. I've been kind of staying away from McFarlane's, except I love anything that's a zombie, anything that's undead, vampire. I'm loving these vampire figures. I hope they keep the line going. Although, who knows? McFarlane seems kind of busy with everything else. But I do dig the vampire lines. I have the what is it? I got Nightwing, Batman, Superman, what I got Green Lantern, Vampire. I think that's it. And then I have the undead, like I have the the zombie Flash, and I have the undead Black Lanterns from the Blackest Night storyline. So, but he looks pretty kind of vicious right there. So I'll be doing an unbox video for him at a later point in time. I still have some Hot Toys to unbox. I still have Miles Morales Spider-Man with Bodega Cat, so I have that to unbox. And I also have the Doctor Strange No Way Home with the alter effect. So I still have to unbox him. So those are going to be some unboxes happening in the future. Who knows? There might be another another Hot Toy somewhere down the line. So we'll see what happens with that. I hope everyone had a great time. And again, anyone out there, I'm inviting anyone and everyone who has seen Alien Romulus to come on next week, Tuesday. Message me. Let me know if 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock works. We can push the stream to 9 o'clock if we need to. But I want to do a discussion on Alien Romulus. I think it was a great installment into the Alien franchise. Is it the absolute best? Well, that's something we'll have to discuss and see. Not a problem, David. Great having David on. David's Life. Go ahead and please subscribe to David's Life. He has an amazing channel, does travel vlogs all the time. He's another local boy here, Western New Yorker, born and raised. Great to have him on. But again, anyone out there, Archer, if you've seen Alien Romulus, I would love to hear your thoughts. Creativity from the future. We had America's Most Wanted. We had Dark Lycan. We had Rebels, Reptiles, and Games. We had Rolando Flores, of course. Ultra Carzilla, Megadan. We had so many people come through the chat tonight. I want to thank everyone who's come through. You guys are beyond amazing, of course. David threw his link in the chat right there, so go ahead and check that out. Also, please check out the video description below, and I want you guys to check out MYTHON the Python. Amazing content creator, amazing action figure poser. Also, don't forget Bantha Bricks. He's a part of Bantha Bricks, so please go ahead and check them out. And that amazing cause, for children's cancer and other diseases. Please go ahead, if you can, please give to that amazing organization. Also, please check out Hello Dope Toys, not just on Instagram, but they're also on YouTube. So please go ahead and give them a subscribe. They have the latest and greatest in figures. I actually scored I'm not a Mythic Legend person, but they do have Diamond Select, they have Jada, they have Joy Toy, they have McFarlane's, they got your wrestling needs, your Mezcos, they got just about everything and anything you can look at, plus an amazing clearance section. Now, when I ordered the mug to help support that amazing cause brought forth by MYTHON, I actually picked up Marvel Legends Disney Plus Kingpin for $5 bones. That's right, $5. I picked up him, and I also picked up What If Gamora in her Thanos armor for $5 a piece. So they got some pretty awesome deals here, guys. So please, yeah, right there, $5 for Gamora. I mean, they have 34 for this 2-pack right here. They got wrestling figures. They got everything all over the place here, guys. So, guys, don't sleep on them. They got some amazing clearance, but they got some amazing new figures and pre-orders all the time here. I mean, take a look at this guy right here, Cosmic Legions. Basically, this is like blanking on what's his name from Motu, but I mean, take a look at some of these figures. Now, for me, I have no local shops in Western New York that sells Cosmic or Mythic Legion. So if I was into that line, these guys would definitely be the go-to source. Again, I have no affiliation with them. I was blown away by their effort to partner up with MYTHON for that amazing cause. And they got some pretty awesome, badass choices here. So if you're into Cosmic or Mythic Legions, again, if you're into G.I. Joe, they got your Joes covered. I mean, if you're into Delta 7, they got some indie toy brands here as well, guys, so you won't miss out on them. They got NECA, they got Valaverse, they got it all here. So go ahead and please check them out. I mean, come on, take a look at that Mo 2, that Havoc throne. Looks badass. It might even look a little bit more black, a little badass with maybe a little black wash, maybe a little bit of weathering in a few choice spots. It's kind of a no-brainer, guys. So there you go, guys. Go ahead and check them out. And of course, they have an Instagram. So please go ahead and check them out, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And like I said, these are just some amazing guys. Here's, if you want to watch their stream where they did that promotion, you know, there they are with MYTHON right there. They took their time. They did an amazing 2 hours stream right there. Just amazing. And there it is. The MYTHON and Python hella dope mug. Just amazing. Just badass. And all goes towards an amazing cause. So guys, please go ahead and check them out. The links are in the bottom of this stream in this video. So go ahead and check them out, guys. But again, if you want to be a part of next week's stream, please just message me at Daves_Dimension on Instagram or email me at davesdimension78@gmail.com. So guys, until next time, this is Dave from Dave's Dimension saying keep on busting. Oh, and by the way, before we go, I am going to be doing some more tech videos, more geared towards streaming, more geared towards streaming on a budget. So, I mean, this day and age, if you want to stream, you want to have a video chat like we did tonight, you have to use a free version of StreamYard here, or you have to, you know, and you lose video quality. Let's be perfectly honest. I ain't going to lie about that. Video quality is crap tonight. I know. A lot of stuff look blurry. It doesn't look as clear as I'm looking at it right now, but I want to try and see if we can find some ways to spruce up if you're someone who doesn't have money to pay for a monthly subscription. If you're someone on a budget, but you want to polish things up, I want to try and find any way and every way possible to do so. So you might be seeing a few more videos on how to step things up a little bit, give it a little bit of polish. Now, Canva is a great resource, and sometimes you can take some assets from Canva, like if you sign up for a free, they're like 30-day trial, like their 1 month trial or 15-day trial or whatever it is. You can download a lot of HD type assets and paste them together using CapCut or some other free programs, guys. So that's right. I'm no longer using Filmora because that was another subscription service per month. So I've ended my subscription with them. I'm no longer using them. The past couple videos I've actually uploaded were used with CapCut. So we're going to be doing some videos on that and a few other things. So guys, until next time, this is Dave from Dave's Dimension saying keep on busting. And you know what I'm going to say. I say it every single time. I will always catch you on the flip side. Take care, guys.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly.